Hey everybody, Qroo here. Welcome to the channel. You know, one of the most frustrating aspects about learning Spanish is when you get conflicting information from native speakers. And you will get conflicting information from native speakers. You know, you'll hear one native speaker use a particular phrase or construction, and you may even see that phrase or construction used online in an article. But when you use it, another native speaker is going to be like, that's not Spanish. Don't say it like that. It is so frustrating. Well, I'll tell you that over the years, this obviously has happened to me a lot, but there's one particular area where it continues to happen and I see other people get frustrated, and that is how to translate to be diagnosed with something, okay? With some illness or something like that. And I think the problem might be with regional changes, etc., because I've even seen native speakers debate about this very same thing in Spanish-only forums, and they can't seem to agree, so what chance do we have, right? So that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. I'm going to be covering the 4 different ways that this is typically translated in Spanish. Doesn't that sound fun? All right, let's go ahead and choose a phrase. How about the patient was diagnosed with cancer? All right, like I said, there are 4 different ways. Number 1 on our list, Alpaciente le diagnosticaron cáncer. It's literally saying like, to the patient, they diagnosed cancer. This construction is very similar to what you would see with verbs like gustar or encantar, you know, where if we leave patient in there, al paciente le gusta esquiar. The patient likes to ski. It's that type of construction. The next one on our list is al paciente se le diagnosticó cáncer. This one is very similar to the first one. We're saying, you know, to the patient, right? Al paciente, that le is still in there. But instead of saying they diagnosed the patient, we're using like a pronominal verb here. And those are the ones in the infinitive that end with se. And it's a passive voice here. It's like a passive way to say that the patient was diagnosed, but we're not saying who did this. This is a very odd construction for English speakers. Even the first one takes some getting used to, because you're like, okay, le usually means like to him, to her, so like to him, they were diagnosed. That's already a little awkward. This one is really awkward. I may do a video about that particular construction because it is used in other areas of the language. Maybe, maybe not. It's easy to work around. I mean, you can avoid using it, which you can see here. There's usually other options, so maybe not. We'll see. On to number 3 on our list. El paciente fue diagnosticado de cáncer. And I already know there's some native speakers out there going, oh no, Paul, I already don't like that one. I already don't like that one. English speakers are like, hey, I kind of like that one, you know, because it's closer to English. El paciente fue, the patient was, diagnosticado, diagnosed. They don't like the de as much. They're like, of cancer. I'd prefer with. I'd kind of prefer with in there, but it's closer to English. I like that one, Paul. That brings us to number 4. Let's make that de Aquon. El paciente fue diagnosticado con cáncer. And I know some of you native speakers are really cringing with that last one, aren't you? So let's take a closer look at these. Number 1 on our list, your le diagnosticaron, whatever the illness is your safest bet. I'm telling you. Number 2, also a pretty safe bet, although it is not used as much as number 1. And again, it can be a really awkward construction for English speakers, so I'd skip it, you know. That brings us to number 3 and 4. Let's lump those together because they are so very similar. Those 2 constructions are using that passive voice with ser, to be, which is very similar to English when we say someone was diagnosed with something, right? It's comfortable for us. One thing to keep in mind here is that, you know, the diagnosticado here has to agree in number and gender with whoever you're talking about. So if you're talking about a female like Maria, Maria fue diagnosticada de or con whatever illness, diagnosticada. So with so many native Spanish speakers saying that those last 2 are not Spanish, should you use them? Are they Spanish? Well, again, I'm not an expert in Spanish. It's not even my language, but let's turn to some experts, okay? Let's see what RAE says. RAE is the Real Academia Española, and they are the leading authority in what is correct in Spanish. They're made up of 46 members from across the Spanish-speaking world. Some are academics, journalists, they come from different walks of life, and they all get together to determine what is correct Spanish. Let's see what they say. Actually, our friends of the Academy debated this exact same thing, which comes as no surprise to me because, like I said, native speakers can never agree on it. And their finding was, it is okay to say ser diagnosticado de algo. They didn't say con, but they like de. I already know there's some native speakers who are like, I don't agree with that at all. If anybody's interested in reading what the Academy said about it, I'm going to put a link to that article in the description section of this video. Well, there you have it. That's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, just do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. And until next time, hasta luego.